Okay guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna talk about a misconception that there is about the first b-boys, how the b-boys got inspired, and today it's about capoeira. We got into a little dispute on the internet, as sometimes happen over something stupid like a joke or whatever. But this guy started claiming capoeira is what inspired breaking. The first b-boys got inspired by capoeira, and that's why they started breaking. And this is actually fake news. I'm not sure why this guy is saying that, but he's not the only one. I heard something similar before. Now the reason why, there can actually be three reasons why. And we're gonna go over that. But first, let me tell you guys why and how I know that this isn't the case. So first of all the first generation b-boys like Trixie, Cool Herc himself, Coco Rock, all these guys are still around. They do interviews, but they're not in the limelight like someone like Mr. Wiggles or Crazy Legs, that they're fully, everybody can listen to these guys, but you have to search for it. But these were actually the very, very first b-boys, right? That got the title b-boy, that were the first one dancing. So if they say they didn't know about capoeira, they didn't know about capoeira. So that's one reason. I know it's actually not true, which also makes sense. You have to understand that this was all before the internet, guys. So even if, because capoeira has actually been around for a very long time, way before breaking was there, in different shapes and forms. So you can maybe make the argument somewhere they should have known about capoeira, but actually not really, because it wasn't like the internet was there, and these were kids from the Bronx, right? So they didn't know about it, basically. Another further proof is basically that capoeira got really introduced to the States in 1979 by Master Accordion, not his real name, but I guess it's his capoeira name. I don't know about that. But he basically introduced it to the west coast of the United States, while breaking obviously originated in the East Coast. Like I said, there wasn't such a thing as internet, and not like, there's not much footage of these b-boys, also the first b-boys, because there was no widespread camera. And then they basically, from what I understand, is that from that point on, capoeira sort of grew and grew and grew, and a lot of people teached it. But if you think about it, even if it got introduced, the way it spread, these students of the master would have taken at least a couple of years to become masters themselves. Of course, that's the possibility that a lot of Brazilians came over and started teaching. But it's not like, from 1979 on, all of a sudden, everybody knew about it, right? And other thing is that breaking was already multiple years already there before it was 1979. So it makes sense. Capoeira did not exist in these guys' mind. Now it's well known these guys were inspired by a lot of things, and noteworthy is that these kung fu movies, they were big in the hood back then, and a lot of them got inspired. Well-known first-gen b-boys like, sorry for the name, but the Nika Twins, they literally used a lot of flips and concepts. Now another interesting thing is, why would people even claim this while it's not true, right? So I can think of three ways why people would claim something like this while it's not true. So the first one, which is kind of ignorant, but in some way a little bit understanding, is people just assume this, right? So basically, when you look at capoeira, there's dance elements, there's a lot of acrobatic elements, and okay, when you look in, there's a lot of similarities. Also, it's quite obvious that a lot of b-boys, took inspiration from, capoeira, but not the first b-boys, and that's important. That's an important detail. We want to tell the truth here, not lies. So, but yes, like a guy in my crew, for instance, did capoeira, and he was actually inspired by that, and well-known b-boy Negin, awesome b-boy, and he also obviously takes inspiration from capoeira. This is not up for debate. But when we talk about did breaking in itself get inspired, it was no. And the reason, maybe that's why people assume it, but then why proclaim it as true if you're just assuming it? Do some research about it at least before you make these claims and start sort of trying to change history. Another reason, and this is sort of not really your fault, is that someone with authority have told you this. Let's say a guy that's been around for ages, or been around, and he have told you, yeah, breaking got inspired by capoeira, and that's why, that's how history happened. And you take that as, okay, this guy told me, I trust this guy, he knows what he's talking about. But basically, well, I guess he didn't know what he was talking about. But this is also a case, but there's sadly a third case, and this is sort of a bad scenario, which is that, maybe you're very proud of Brazil or whatever, of capoeira, and you just try to change history by claiming this shit. And this also happens. It happens on multiple occasions. B-boy is not free from this, but this happens all the time, right? Quite interesting, but here's the facts, guys. So no, the first breakers did not know about capoeira when it started, and maybe, like, I would say from 1982, maybe a little bit around that era, capoeira was probably in the limelight of breaking. But I feel like, like even this era, you don't really see the capoeira style in their dance so much, right? In my opinion, at least. When I look at footage from that day, they didn't really use it. Yes, they used flips, obviously, but that's about it. So, guys, there you have the facts. You can look all the shit up themselves. Look up these interviews with the first B-boys. Quite interesting, right? Alright, guys, that's it. See you next time.